Welcome to The Explainer. So let's talk about one of the biggest questions out there. What really motivates us? We're going to dive into the work of Dan Ariely, a behavioral economist who found that what gets us going is, well, it's a lot weirder and way more surprising than you'd think.
You know, this line, it just perfectly sums up that old school, kind of brutal idea of motivation that we're about to take apart, piece by piece. It's this belief that we're all just, rats in a maze, either chasing a piece of cheese or running from a shock.
I mean, think about it. We're all part-time motivators, right? We're trying to get ourselves going or our kids or the people we work with. But what if everything we think we know is just wrong? Let's kick things off with the biggest assumption of all.
All right, so first up, myth number 1, cash is king. This is the idea that cold, hard cash is the ultimate motivator. You want more from people? Just throw more money at them. Simple, right? Well,
Okay, so to figure this out, an experiment at an Intel factory put this exact question to the test. They split workers into 4 groups. One group was offered a cash bonus, another a free pizza voucher. A third group got a simple, well done, from the boss. And the last group, the control group, got nothing. So, what do you think happened?
So, on day 1, the results were pretty surprising. All 3 incentives gave a boost to performance, sure. But get this. It wasn't the cash that won. It was the pizza and the compliment. They actually beat the money.
But here's the real kicker. When you look at the whole week, the group that got the cash bonus, they actually did 6.5% worse than the group who got nothing at all. Their performance just tanked on day 2, and it never came back up.
So what does this tell us? It's a huge insight, really. Throwing cash into the mix can kind of poison a social relationship. It turns it into just a transaction. See, the compliment and the pizza, those felt like gifts. But the cash, that was just a payment. And when the payment is done, so is the motivation. Okay, so this brings us to another one of our big, flawed ideas about people, that we're all fundamentally lazy, that we're always looking for the easy way out, the least amount of work for the biggest reward. But what if that's totally backwards?
They call this the IKEA effect. And you know exactly what this is. It's that weird sense of pride you get looking at that wobbly bookshelf you spent your entire Saturday putting together. What Ariely's research shows is that the effort we put in, it actually makes us love the thing more. Effort isn't a cost we try to avoid. It's an investment that creates real value for us.
So to prove this, Ariely's team ran a super simple experiment. They had one group, the builders, make some little origami creations. Then they asked both the builders and another group, the buyers, a simple question. How much would you pay for these? And the result? It was just staggering. The builders, the ones who actually did the work, they were willing to pay 5 times more for their own, let's be honest, kind of lumpy creations than the buyers were. And why? Because all that effort they put in made it theirs. In fact, and this is the craziest part, when the researchers made the whole thing harder by giving them terrible instructions, the builders valued their even uglier creations more. This just goes to show you, effort isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature. It's literally what connects us to what we do. Which, leads us right into our third big myth. The idea that, hey, as long as the paycheck clears, who cares if anyone even notices your work, right? So to test this, researchers had people do a pretty simple task. In one group, when they handed in their work, someone glanced at it and gave a little, In the second group, their work was just ignored, put in a pile. And in the third group, they had to watch as their finished sheet was immediately, and I mean immediately, fed into a paper shredder, right in front of them. So the folks who got acknowledged, they kept on working until the paper sheet dropped all the way down to 15 cents. No surprise, the people who watched their work get shredded, they quit way earlier. But here is the absolutely shocking part. The group whose work was just ignored, they gave up at almost the exact same point as the people whose work was literally destroyed. Just let that sink in for a second. Ignoring someone's hard work is almost as bad as physically destroying it in front of them. That little nod, that it isn't just a nice little bonus, it's a fundamental part of what keeps us going. Okay, so if it's not about the cash, and it's not about being lazy, and it's not about just getting the work done and moving on, then what is the real payoff? Well, it all boils down to one powerful, super essential ingredient: meaning. For centuries, the way we thought about work, going all the way back to Adam Smith's pin factory, it was all about efficiency. Break it down, make it faster. But that model had a huge cost. One that Karl Marx pointed out, it totally disconnected us from our work. It stripped out the meaning. And today, in our knowledge economy, where we need creativity and purpose, that old model is just completely broken.
This really reminds me of what the philosopher and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl wrote. After everything he went through in the concentration camps, he argued that it's a sense of meaning that lets us endure and even thrive through the most unimaginable hardships.
And look, meaning isn't some big, fuzzy, abstract thing that's impossible to find. It's built from all these little things we've been talking about. That sense of accomplishment you get from putting in effort, that feeling of ownership, the connection to a bigger purpose. And yeah, that simple acknowledgement that what you do is seen and that it actually matters.
Ultimately, all of Dan Ariely's experiments, they point to the exact same profound truth that Viktor Frankl discovered in the darkest place imaginable. Our connection to other people and to a purpose that's bigger than just ourselves. That's the most powerful, the most lasting motivator there is.
And here's the great news. Motivation isn't some finite thing that runs out. It's renewable. If we start focusing less on the simple transaction of cash and more on these deeply human needs for meaning, for ownership, for acknowledgement, we can create more of it, for ourselves and for the people around us. Thanks for joining this explainer.